So welcome to this wintering meditation series. As humans living in a post-industrial revolution society, we have tumbled unintentionally into normalizing that life is a constant spring or summer, always blooming, always producing, and always busy. And this meditation series I'm calling Wintering is based on, it's inspired by this book called Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May. So I'm going to be reading excerpts from the book. It goes from September through to March. For those of you in the southern hemisphere, September would be March for you. So definitely an invitation to read along with it in line with your season. So we're in November, which is April, May, sort of May time. So deep autumn. And since moving here to France, I have really become so much more aware of the seasons, probably because I have the time to observe it a little bit more, being in the countryside and learning an enormous amount about how nature prepares itself for winter and what's available to us if we listen and pay attention, how it slows down and how we can use it as a way to support our well-being, to kind of mirror what it's doing when the world is telling us to be busy, observing what's going on around us, and to take our time. So this meditation series is an invitation to break some habits and to prepare yourself for a period of hibernation. So in a way, we're kind of preparing ourselves for deep winter, January time, where at the moment things may feel a bit exciting and novel, and we're happy to be wearing our jumpers and scarves again, where we'll get into the darkness and the relentlessness of that. So we're preparing ourselves for hibernation, to make time for quiet, for sleep and for stillness, and to open up to the possibilities that this will bring us. So hibernation is a period of dormancy for animals and plants. It's not death, it's dormancy. Essentially, there's less food around, it's colder, and it's the time of year to be busy. This time of year is when we should be preparing for that. So as an occupational therapist, I use activity as a therapeutic tool to support well-being. So these meditations are a simple way for you to prepare for hibernation, and setting an intention or an invitation for you to be more deliberate about how you're taking care of yourself, noticing what impacts you, what nourishes you, what you need, so that you can make this transition from autumn to winter, so that you're soothed and calmed and nourished, taking care of your mind, body, and your soul. So you've taken the time out of your day to be here. So let's begin. Where have I put my bell? Oh, it's right next to me. Even preparing ourselves, we'll stumble. So let's arrive. So have a sense of taking your seat. You are, of course, welcome to do these practices lying down, but bearing in mind that the intention is to fall awake and to not fall asleep. So if you're feeling tired and you are lying down, leave your eyes open. If you're sitting, the invitation is that you have your back away from the chair, you have a self-supporting spine, your hips slightly higher than your knees. Just taking a moment to adjust and make sure you have everything that you need. You warm enough. You comfortable. You too comfortable. Noticing the points of contact that you're making with the earth. Checking that your spine is in its natural alignment. And letting go of any obvious tension that you might be noticing in your face, your shoulders. And let's begin to bring attention to our breath. Not changing the rhythm in any way, simply breathing in and breathing out. Following the full flow of the breath for a few cycles as the air gets sucked into the nostrils, pulled up and then down the throat into the lungs. Perhaps noticing how the chest and shoulders rise, how the belly fills. Rise and fall of your breath, the in and out. And then letting go of paying particular attention to the breath. Having a sense of the breath breathing itself. And expanding your awareness to include all of the body. You breathing in your body. And an invitation to take an internal weather report. Check in with your barometer. How are you today? What's the weather like? What's the weather report for right now? Still, blue skies, cloudy, stormy, erratic, all of the above. And dropping into the felt sensation of that within the body. What exactly is that if you were to describe it? Whereabouts in the body are these sensations? Where are they? Do they move? Do they have a colour, a texture? As we drop from our thinking, analysing mind to being, dropping into the body and exploring its experience. Much a part of the story as the thoughts. What does your body experience of this emotion, this feeling, this weather? And now an invitation to narrow your awareness to your nose. and your experience of smell. What, if anything, can you smell? Perhaps noticing how your nose is able to detect warmth or coolness. Maybe it's difficult to observe any smells. Perhaps you can smell the warmth of your body. If you like, you can bring your hands towards your face, observing if there are any smells. Your fingers, your hands, the backs of your hands, maybe the fabric of your sleeve. Observing your breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. And as best you can, being with your direct experience of what it is to smell. So we narrow the lens of our attention to one function of the body for this piece of time. And then returning your hands down to your side if you haven't already. Observing your body, your experience of having rested with the sense of smell. And now an invitation to move your awareness to your mouth. Your experience of taste. Maybe you've just eaten, brushed your teeth. Maybe you're hungry. What can you notice of your taste buds? A trickier exploration without food. Maybe there's a metallic taste in your mouth. Maybe there are quieter parts of your tongue, more vivid tastes, maybe around the sides. These parts of our body never switch off. They become quieter, noisier, depending on the activities that we're engaging in. We're taking this time to focus on this quiet period for taste buds. Maybe you can't notice anything at all. What is nothingness? Are there any shapes, colours, movements, textures to the experience? And moving your awareness away from your experience of taste to sounds, to moving up to the ears, those two very small holes either side of your head. Not particularly searching for sounds, but allowing them to arrive. Where do you experience, notice sounds within your body? The sounds from my space into yours. Your body. The sounds within the room that you're in. The sounds outside. Noticing how you might be labeling sounds pleasant or unpleasant. And as best you can, dropping into the felt sensation of your experience of sounds. Do you experience sounds more on one side of the body than the other? Perhaps you experience sounds differently from one side to the other. Maybe those ears function differently and process sound differently. What does your body experience of sounds? Being interested and curious, noticing and paying attention to your body's version of the story, listening. Being curious There's no right or wrong way of doing the practice. We're simply noticing what it is to be ours and observing ourselves, learning to pay attention and listen. Opening up to the healing that this can offer. As we step away from our busy prefrontal cortex, drop into the space of our bodies, simply noticing, narrowing the lens of our attention and exploring our senses, and in this instance, sounds as sounds. Now an invitation to move your awareness away from sounds to your experience of touch. So let's begin by noticing the points of contact that we're making with ourselves, with the ground, with the chair. Maybe your feet on the floor, your bottom on the seat, your hands on your lap, the clothes against your skin, the air against your skin. Exploring what you notice, if anything. These points of contact, this touch. Your lips making contact, your teeth with each other, your tongue against your teeth. The air as it touches your nostrils. The weight of your body touching the earth. Perhaps having a sense of feeling held and supported. Solid and grounded. An invitation to check in with your posture. Breath. If you find it helpful, you can use your fingers to explore touch. Maybe caressing your fingers, touching the fabric of your clothes. The textures of jewelry. Fabrics. Being playful and curious. The textures and colours and shapes. Softness, hardness. warmth, coolness. Coolness of the air against your skin. The touch of the warm air as it leaves your nostrils. The fabric of your socks against your feet. And then moving your awareness away from your experience of touch, we're going to explore sight. So moving your awareness to your eye area. If your eyes are open, an invitation to close them. Can you notice if your eyes, are they still? Are they flickering? Are your eyelids moving? Are there colours? Are there shapes behind these eyelids? Noticing. This experience of sight was always here. We didn't notice because we were concentrating on other senses. So be interested. Their shapes. Our eyes are generally in a cross-eyed position when our eyelids are closed. Can you notice this? Maybe it's not the case for you. How magnificent it is that we can switch between our senses. How this informs our experience of the world. What our experience of sight is with our eyelids closed. Invitation to open your eyelids a little. Focus in front of you on a point on the floor. Observing your experience of sight. Whilst focusing on this one point on the floor or just in front of you. Expanding your awareness to the periphery. The shapes and objects that your brain is maybe familiar with. It tells you what it is without you even looking at it. The colours and shapes, light, darkness, shadows. Your ordinary, normal, that 100 years ago would have been completely unimaginable. And in 100 years' time, will be historic. These objects that surround you, our way of living. What are you noticing right now? Your experience of sight as we focus on one point in front of us. The eyelids moving, blinking. And then closing your eyes, just resting in the felt sensation of having made that exploration. So you've got the shadows of the objects floating around. And then letting go of your experience of sight and bringing your awareness to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And then expanding that awareness from the breath to include all of the body. Resting in stillness for a few more moments. I'm going to read from the November chapter of Wintering, the power of rest and retreat in difficult times. This chapter is titled Metamorphosis. There is a change in the air. Early morning, when I open the back door, it billows into the kitchen, crisp, cold, and fresh as mint. It makes white clouds of my breath. Winter has decorated ordinary life. Some days, everything sparkles, glamorizing the lids of bins and the tarmac patchwork of the pavements. Frost etches mysterious patterns on the roof of our car, and the puddles that collect in the gutter are crisp with ice. My cats have taken on their winter coats. Lulu, our black and white moggy, is marmite brown in the summer, but goes boot polish black when the cold comes. Heidi, our tortoiseshell, loses her warm weather blondes and becomes plush and velvet, her gingery tones deepening to red. They are suddenly present in the house, having avoided us all summer when the warm nights invited adventure. Just like us, they now crave comfy cushions and the occasional fire. I'm changing too. Wrapped in socks all day, my feet turn from their summer brown to winter white, and my sunshine freckles fade away. My shins and knees are drying out. My face drinks in moisturizer every morning. Deprived of sun, my hair darkens and the skin frays around my nails. Mine is a drab winter coat, usually lifted by bright red cheeks, the legacy of coastal winds. But then the winter is no time to put on display. I love the separation it brings, the way that people are scarce even during the daylight hours, when you can drink in the dilute light of the low sun, your shadow stretching long at your feet. I walk along the River Stour at Sandwich, heading out across the flats and towards the sea. The reeds have dried to a rustling beige, and the bare trees reveal a bright green woodpecker flitting between branches. I notice that the black-headed gulls have already put on their winter plumage. The juveniles entering their first winter have turned their brown feathers to grey. The breeding adults look white as they glide overhead. The dark feathers on their faces have retreated, leaving a charcoal smudge between each eye like a comic ear. The tide is higher than usual, and the marsh is transformed into low, silvery sea. This has displaced the curlews into undergrowth around the path. As I walk along, they scatter at my feet and flute badly temperedly. There are pheasants and a peregrine being mobbed by crows. Amid the transformation of winter, the unwelcome change is an abundance of life. So moving and stretching in whatever way your body might have been asking you to do that you didn't listen to. Let's move into taking tea together. And I'm preparing you an Iron Goddess tea here. So this is an oolong tea. smells a bit of violet to me. So it's between a black tea and a green tea. Begin just by waking them up. So this warms the cups. And then it doesn't need a long brew, this tea. Gets drunk throughout the day. Just pour this. And the lid gets taken off to stop it cooking anymore. It's called Iron Goddess, named after the goddess of mercy, Guan Yin. When roasted, the tea is dark and heavy like iron, but pure and beautiful like the goddess herself. So an invitation to bring your awareness to the taste, smells, touch, and sounds. This simple activity of taking tea. I'm going to pause the recording here. Those of you practicing in your own time, an invitation to journal or to reflect on your direct experience of the practice. Of the theme are wintering and the senses, what you noticed, what was interesting, what was quiet. So we're going to close with a simple breathing space, the bread and butter practice of mindfulness. So wherever you are, as you are, you don't need to be, you can be as slumped as you like to be for this one. This is a moment to kind of, the invitation is that this is something that you can do anywhere at any time with yourself. So you can check in with your body and how you're doing. So just taking a moment to gather your awareness. Your body, the points of contact that you're making with the earth, air against your skin. And then narrowing your awareness to your breath, following the flow of your breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. Now an invitation to expand your awareness from the breath to include all of your body. And an invitation to just take a moment to think about what you need to do next. What's your body been asking for? Do you need to go on a walk? Do you need to have another cup of tea? Watch from your window? Do you need to write down that list of all the things that were popping into your head during that meditation? Do you need to stretch? Eat something? Put some moisturizer on? The idea of this short practice is that we gather our attention, we narrow our focus, we expand outwards. And this gives us a moment to pause, to consider what we need to do next. So as best you can, taking that sense of connection and awareness into whatever you have left to do with your day. And for those of you practicing in your own time, please do reach out if there's anything that's come up for you within the practices that you'd like to explore.